Some football records are broken within a few years. Others survive for generations. But this one survived for nearly 70 years. It witnessed the rise of Pelé, the magic of Maradona, the dominance of Ronaldo Nazário, the goals of Miroslav Klose, and even the brilliance of Cristiano Ronaldo. Yet none of them could break it. For decades, only two players in football history had ever achieved it: France's Just Fontaine in 1958 and Brazil's Jairzinho in 1970. 6 consecutive FIFA World Cup matches, 6 goals, a record so difficult that many believed it would never be broken. Then came 2026. A 39-year-old Lionel Messi walked onto the world's biggest stage, not to prove he still belonged, but to remind the world that true greatness never fades. One goal, then another, until football witnessed something it had never seen before. 7 consecutive World Cup matches. 7 goals. 1 brand new world record. So how did Messi accomplish what generations of football legends couldn't? And why are experts already calling this one of the greatest World Cup records ever? Let's go back to where this incredible story began. When people talk about World Cup legends, they usually remember trophies, historic finals, or unforgettable goals. But hidden deep inside football history was one achievement that almost nobody discussed, not because it wasn't important, but because it seemed impossible. Scoring in one World Cup match is difficult. Scoring in 2 straight matches is impressive, but scoring in 6 consecutive World Cup matches, against completely different opponents, across different stages of the tournament, with billions of people watching, that required something very few footballers have ever possessed. Consistency. Every match brings new defenders, new tactics, new pressure, one bad touch, one missed chance, one injury, and the streak disappears forever. That's exactly why this record survived generation after generation. The story begins in Sweden, back in 1958. France arrived with an exciting attacking team, led by a striker named Just Fontaine. Nobody expected what happened next, match after match. Fontaine simply couldn't stop scoring. By the end of the tournament, he had scored an astonishing 13 goals. To this day, no player has ever scored more goals in a single World Cup. Hidden inside that incredible tournament was another unbelievable achievement: goals in 6 consecutive World Cup matches. It became one of football's rarest records. 12 years later, another legend arrived. Brazil, the greatest football nation on earth. Most people remember Pelé from that legendary 1970 team. But another player quietly wrote his own chapter in history. Jairzinho, nicknamed the Hurricane, he scored in every single World Cup match Brazil played. His incredible consistency allowed him to equal Fontaine's record. 6 consecutive World Cup matches, 6 goals, and then history stood still. Years passed, then decades. Football changed completely. The game became faster, defenders became stronger, tactics became more advanced, new superstars appeared every generation. But somehow, the record refused to fall. For most footballers, winning the FIFA World Cup is the perfect ending. Once you've lifted the trophy, there's nothing left to prove. That was exactly how many people viewed Lionel Messi after Argentina's unforgettable triumph in Qatar. He had completed football, or so they thought. By 2026, Messi was 39 years old. The questions had already begun. Can he still perform at the highest level? Has age finally caught up with him? Critics believed the magic was fading, but history has a funny way of testing the greatest players one last time, and this time, the challenge wasn't another trophy. It was a record that had survived nearly 7 decades. Every time Messi stepped onto the pitch, millions expected something special, not because of his name, but because he had spent almost 2 decades doing the impossible. As Argentina progressed through the tournament, the goals kept coming. One match, one goal, another match, another goal. The pressure grew with every game. Suddenly, this wasn't just about helping Argentina win. It was about chasing a piece of football history that nobody had touched since 1970. Against Austria, Messi found the back of the net once again. To many fans, it looked like just another brilliant finish, but it meant much more than that. With that goal, Messi had officially joined the most exclusive club in World Cup history, Just Fontaine, Jairzinho, and now, Lionel Messi. 3 legends, 1 incredible record, 6 consecutive World Cup matches, 6 goals. But Messi wasn't finished. A few days later, Argentina faced Jordan. The stadium was packed. Millions were watching around the world. Every touch from Messi carried enormous expectations. Then, Argentina won a free kick. The crowd fell silent. Messi carefully placed the ball. He took a few steps back. The referee blew the whistle. One smooth run-up, one perfect strike. The ball curled over the wall, past the goalkeeper, and into the top corner. For a brief second, time stood still. Then the stadium exploded. Because that wasn't just another beautiful free kick, it was history. Lionel Messi had become the first player ever to score in 7 consecutive FIFA World Cup matches. A record that had survived almost 70 years had finally fallen. Football has countless records, most goals, most appearances, most trophies. But this one is different, because it demands everything: talent, consistency, fitness, mental strength, and the ability to perform under the brightest lights in world football. One poor game, one missed opportunity, one injury, and the streak ends forever. That's why so many legendary players came close, but none could go beyond 6, until Messi. Records are made to be broken, but some become part of football folklore. Just Fontaine inspired a generation. Jairzinho carried Brazil to glory. Now, Lionel Messi has written his own chapter alongside them, not by replacing the legends who came before him, but by pushing the limits of what seemed possible. Nearly 70 years after the record was first created, football finally has a new name at the top, and perhaps that's the true beauty of this sport. Every generation believes it has seen the greatest story ever told, until another legend arrives and writes an even greater one. Lionel Messi didn't just score another goal. He reminded the world that greatness isn't defined by age. It is defined by consistency, by courage, and by delivering when history is watching. So here's the question: how long will this record survive? Will another player ever score in 7 consecutive World Cup matches? Or will Lionel Messi remain alone at the top for generations to come? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more football documentaries every week.